Thinking about moving to Portugal? Before you pack your bags, you need to know what it actually costs to live here. From rent prices in Lisbon to grocery costs in Porto, and even hidden expenses most people overlook, we will break down exactly what life in Portugal will cost you. But here's the catch: the total monthly cost might surprise you, and there's one key expense most people forget that could make or break your budget. Stick around until the end, because we are revealing exactly how much you'll need to live comfortably here in 2025. Let's dive in. Let's start off with the biggest monthly expense: housing. Eurostat data now shows that housing prices in Portugal have skyrocketed by 105.8% between 2015 and 2023. Then again, like any other country, housing prices, whether renting or buying, depend on their location. Naturally, Lisbon will be more expensive than, let's say, Évora.
The great thing in Portugal is that you can rent a place to live, but you can also actually buy one as a foreigner. There are requirements to buying property, but they are fairly straightforward compared to some other countries. We will explain a lot more in detail in our upcoming videos about renting or buying property in Portugal, so stay tuned.
Luckily, if you have no intention of buying, there are excellent places to rent in Portugal. In Lisbon, renting an apartment is popular as it often comes with modern amenities. To find rentals, websites like Idealista, OLX and Caso Sapo are great places to start your search. If you go for a high-end 2-bedroom apartment in Baixa, a popular place to live in the city center, you can expect to pay around 2,600 a month. But there are also more affordable options if you're lucky. For example, in Almada, across the river, you might find a 2-bedroom apartment for around 1,350 a month.
There's a trend now that many expats are moving away from traditional hotspots like Lisbon and Porto due to the rising costs. There's a growing interest in smaller cities like Coimbra, Braga and Aveiro. In Braga, a charming city near Porto, you can find an apartment for just 800 euros a month. There are great places if you look hard enough.
Remote workers are increasingly choosing less touristy areas for better value, such as the Silver Coast just north of Lisbon. Here you can find towns such as Nazaré, known for its high surf waves, Óbidos, a charming medieval town, and Peniche, a coastal town known for its stunning beaches. Caldas da Rainha is also a charming town where expat numbers are growing. You can find great 2-bedroom accommodation and even houses in these three towns, ranging from 750 euros to 1,100 euros.
The interior regions are also seeing growth due to affordability and authenticity. And don't forget the Azores Islands and Madeira Islands, where they even established a digital nomad village at Ponta do Sol. Funchal is also becoming popular among digital nomads. Here you can still find places for 850 euros or 1,200 euros a month.
And last but not least, the Algarve, a coastal gem with hidden value located in the south of Portugal and a favorite for those looking for mild temperatures in the winter months. But beyond the tourist hotspots, there are lesser known villages and towns that offer excellent value for money for those looking to settle down, such as Lule and Tafira, where you can find places for around 1,200 euros a month.
Each area has its own character and benefits, so the best choice really depends on your lifestyle preferences, budget, and whether you need access to international schools, healthcare, or specific amenities. Whichever location you choose in Portugal, there is likely an expat community organizing events and gatherings, making it easy to connect and make friends.
As you can tell, there is a lot to discover when it comes to finding a place to live in Portugal. And we haven't even looked at houses with a garden yet. So, for now, we will calculate 1,500 euros for the cost of housing a month.
Next are utility costs. This all depends on the size of the place you're living in and the number of people. But for heating, cooling, water and garbage, you should expect somewhere around 120 euros per month with 3 people to be on the safe side.
As for internet, fiber broadband is widely available in Portugal. Providers like Mayo, NOS and Vodafone offer plans. For example, Mayo provides a standard plan for about €30 per month.
If you need faster internet or additional services like TV packages, NOS has a plan that includes high-speed internet, TV and phone for about €64 per month. So let's add €170 for gas, electricity, internet, TV and mobile in total.
What else? Groceries. Eating at local restaurants in Portugal is avoidable. The country is famous for its cafes and small eateries where you can enjoy different dishes every day of the month. It's so affordable that you can eat for about €10 per person, so around €30 for us for lunch or dinner. A cappuccino typically costs around €1.50, and a glass of wine can be enjoyed for as little as €3 at a local cafe.
For shopping, it depends on where you go. Supermarkets in urban areas may cost slightly more, especially for imported products. Major supermarket chains in Portugal include Continente, Pingo Doce, Lidl and Auchan. For example, a liter of milk costs around 82 cents. A loaf of bread is approximately €1.48 and a dozen eggs can be purchased for around €2. Local markets and smaller stores tend to be cheaper for fresh produce, where you might pay €2 for a kilogram of tomatoes.
If we were to budget for groceries and eating out 8 times a month, we'd calculate around €600 a month. And we didn't include other expenses such as beauty and cleaning products. We also want to splurge occasionally on seafood or a nice bottle of wine and some fancier restaurants. So let's keep it at €700 a month.
Next on the list is transportation. Public transportation in Lisbon is comprehensive with buses, trams and the metro system. A monthly pass for unlimited rides costs about €40. The pass, known as the Navigente card, can be obtained through Caris, Lisbon's main public transportation company. For other cities like Porto, you can use the Adante card, which also costs around €40 for unlimited rides within the metro and bus network.
If you're planning to live in rural areas or smaller cities, you might need a car. On average, owning a car in Portugal may cost between €250 and €400 per month, excluding the initial purchase price of course, or leasing. Second-hand cars in Portugal vary widely in price, but you can find reliable used cars starting at €4,000 for older models or around €7,000 to €10,000 for newer options.
Popular websites to browse for second-hand cars include Stand Virtual, OLX and Custo Justo, where you can filter by make, model and price range to find the best deals. If we were to live in Porto or Coimbra, we'd likely consider getting 2 motorbikes or a small economical car. For public transport costs, let's add around €100 a month.
Another important cost of living in Portugal, for us at least, is schooling. Portugal offers international schools in major cities. Tuition can range from €7,000 to €15,000 annually, depending on the curriculum. Local public schools, on the other hand, are free for residents and provide quality education, especially at the primary and secondary levels. For our son, who will be around 10 years old, we estimate tuition costs of around €7,000 per year or about €600 a month.
Next, healthcare. Healthcare in Portugal is good and affordable for expats. Expats can use a public health system called SNS, which offers many services at low cost, like doctor visits and prescriptions. Most doctors in Portugal speak English, so communication is easy for many expats. If you prefer private healthcare, it's also available, but it can be more expensive. Private healthcare insurance typically costs between €40 to €100 per month, depending on the coverage. This gives you faster access to doctors and treatments. Dental treatments are usually not covered by the SNS, so you'll need private dental insurance or pay for your visits.
Eye exams, glasses and contact lenses are generally not covered by the public health system, so you need to pay for these privately. Overall, healthcare in Portugal is reliable and gives expats good options for staying healthy.
Last but not least, the visa. Portugal offers a range of visa options. For EU citizens, no visa is required, but you must register for residency if staying longer than 90 days, which involves a simple process at the local town hall with proof of address and employment or income.
For non-EU citizens, the D7 visa, also known as the passive income visa or remote work visa, is by far the most popular visa choice for expats moving to Portugal. Here's why it's so popular. There are lower financial requirements compared to other types of visa, and you have flexibility to work remotely or live off passive income. Moreover, it's a faster path to residency than other options, and you get full access to Portuguese healthcare and social systems. On top of that, you are allowed to bring family members on this D7 visa.
So what are the main requirements? Well, you need proof of regular income, around 760 per month for single person or 1,140 as a couple, a bank account with sufficient funds for initial stay, some proof of accommodation, rental contract or property deed, health insurance, and a clean criminal record.
The initial application costs are, for the visa application fee, approximately 90 to 120 euros depending on the consulate or embassy processing your application. Then we have the residence permit fee. Once in Portugal, you will apply for a residence permit through SAF. The fee is around 158 euros to 200 euros. The D7 residence permit is initially valid for 2 years and then renewable for 3 years. Renewal fees through SAF range from 100 to 150 euros.
Then we have document preparation costs, such as translation and certification. All non-Portuguese documents must be translated and certified. Costs range from 10 euros to 25 euros per page for translation and certification. Apostille, required for legalizing documents such as birth certificates, marriage certificates, and police clearance. Apostille fees vary by country but generally range from 20 euros to 50 euros per document. Police clearance certificate issued by your home country. The cost typically ranges from 25 euros to 50 euros.
The only major catch is the stay requirement. You must spend at least 183 days per year in Portugal to maintain the visa, making it ideal for actual residents but not for those wanting a more flexible arrangement.
The fees we have mentioned are approximate and can change. It's best to check with the Portuguese consulate or a qualified immigration lawyer for the most current fees and requirements.
As EU citizens, we do not require a visa to live in Portugal. Therefore, we will exclude visa costs from our calculations. So for us, a family of 3, the final calculation will be 1,500 euros for housing, 170 euros for utilities and internet and mobile, 700 euros for groceries and eating out, 600 euros for schooling, 100 euros for healthcare, 100 euros for transport, and another 150 euros for small things you never thought of, such as Spotify, Netflix subscriptions, gym memberships, haircuts, basic toiletries, cinema or concert tickets. This brings us to a total of 3,320 euros a month.
Again, these prices tend to be higher because as expats we may pay more than locals. Plus, we like to calculate more rather than less to avoid surprises. We didn't calculate travel or emergency costs yet, but we plan for some flexibility in that area as well.
With all this in mind, we estimate our total cost of living in Portugal at around 3,500 per month. This includes travel expenses, insurances, and savings for emergencies or sudden costs. So we could say Portugal is cheaper than the Netherlands, but not as much as we expected. We are quite surprised considering Portugal has a reputation for being an affordable destination. But in the last year it has become a popular country to move to, so naturally prices will go up. But what really caught us off guard is the high cost of rent. It's way steeper than we expected. And when you factor in schooling expenses, something we don't pay for in the Netherlands, it really adds up. That said, Portugal still has a lot going for it. The quality of life is fantastic, and when compared to other Western European countries, it still holds its place as a relatively affordable option.
So we've come to the end of this overview, but there's much more to explore about Portugal. In our next videos, we'll go into more detail about finding a place to live and applying for visas.
So, are you ready to pack your bags, or are you just a little bit too late to enjoy living for cheap in the sunniest country in Europe? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips on Portugal.